am Kate Conroy.
And I'm Vinny Santella.
And this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, which is the largest statewide business association in the country. I know, right? Woo! We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. And shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. They provide home, auto, and workers' comp, and they are the official sponsor of the show.
Yeah, so check them out if you need some additional coverage. Mm-hmm. So, like she said, we air every other Wednesday on your podcast network of choice. iTunes, Google Play, Amazon's Alexa, anywhere you can get a podcast, we're going to be there. If you're not into the whole podcast thing, you don't want to take the time to figure out an app or anything like that. You can totally check the show out on YouTube, youtube.com/NJBIA. We put every episode up on there. You can see these smiling faces every other Wednesday. And subscribe. It can be really difficult, every other week to remember, they put a new episode out. If you go to njbia.org/subscribe, they'll let you know whenever we're new.
That's right.
So with us today from Wells Fargo is Pete Dontas. Pete, say hi. Let the audience hear your voice.
Thank you. And Kate, nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. Did you have any trouble getting here today?
Nope. I grew up in Trenton, so I know my way around.
Nice.
So I had no problem getting here.
Very cool.
And this is my first podcast ever. So.
You're kidding.
This is a great podcast to be your first. I think I said that in our last episode.
The episode we taped yesterday with Jackie from Fairleigh Dickinson University, that was her first podcast as well. So
we make this really easy. Don't
yeah,
worry.
It is. It's
looking forward to it.
All right, so
are you checking things off on the script as we cover them?
Yeah,
All right.
it's like I would.
She's very organized.
I know, right?
OCD.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm feeding the OCD today. I'm not ignoring it.
Okay.
All right, so today's icebreaker is: would you rather go 30 days without your phone or a lifetime without dessert?
Easy for me. A lifetime without dessert.
Wow.
Can't not do it. I need the phone.
You need the phone.
Right in my pocket.
Even for 30 days?
Yeah, I'm not a big dessert guy.
Oh, I guess that's easy for you then. Good?
Yeah, lifetime without dessert.
Really?
Yeah, I've always been like that. My weaknesses are like the potato chips and the salt and the fat, not the sweets. So
same.
Yeah.
But I'm still struggling with the question. So when you're at like Thanksgiving and dinner has been fabulous, and then somebody rolls out pies, you really like, nah.
I mean, Thanksgiving in particular.
I know you hate that.
Holiday. But if Thanksgiving was done well enough, you're stuffed anyway before
You're full.
the pies
You're
come
full
out.
But
before
don't
the
you
pies.
want the pumpkin pie?
I do love pumpkin pie. I'm not gonna,
Think about the Girl
besmirch
Scout.
pumpkin pie's good name.
Think about the Girl Scout cookies you'll miss out on.
Yeah, so like Ginny Marino,
I know.
from the Girl Scouts was on our show, and she gave us some free Girl Scout cookies to take home. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the s'mores were gone in like a day. Like a day. The whole box gone.
No.
That being said, if I had to choose, there have been a couple times where I've accidentally left my phone in my car,
Ooh.
and it's like I left my arm in my car.
Yeah.
You can't go without that these days.
Yeah, so
I'm going to give a shout out to Nicola, because whenever she texts the two of us, and I don't respond within a half an hour, I start to get the, Vinny, where are you? Are you dead? Yeah, exactly.
It's true. It's true. All right, so I guess I would have to say that I agree with you both, but it after a struggle.
Yeah.
There's like an internal struggle, and then I would say, okay, I guess I choose my phone.
Yeah, I mean, there'd always be times where I'd regret not being able to eat dessert, like there'd be that passing little thing, but we wouldn't go like 5 minutes without me regretting the phone being gone.
But there are some people who purposefully unplug, and it's only 30 days without your phone. Think of it as like a vacation.
I never do that.
Yeah.
My phone is always on. It's in my pocket. You get texts. I do 30 days though.
Is your ringer on or off when you go to sleep?
Off.
I turn the whole phone off.
Yeah, I don't. I leave it on.
If the ringer's off anyway, you should just give the electronic device, the good.
So I've got this
time
new
out.
thing. I got a new phone Friday because my phone, the old phone, after like noon, the battery would be at 20%, right?
Yeah.
So I got a new phone, and as they're kind of updating the software at the Apple Store, there's this little, I'm sure you know, it's a device where you can just lay your phone on it, and it charges it.
Yeah.
Without sticking in the, which was new to me, so I picked one of those up, and now it's just, you know what I mean, just put it down if you're not using it, if you're walking around, and it just charges.
It's a genius thing.
So.
But that's actually, since you're an Apple user, that's something that Droid users have had for a while, right?
Yeah, I've got one on my desk over there.
You do have one, yeah.
Yeah,
Good. Okay.
it's good. Good stuff. All right. So I guess, grudgingly, I agree with you guys.
Yeah, it'd be one of those things. Like, I'm trying to not use the phone as much anymore, especially, like, I don't want my kid to see me, like, on the phone all the time, but 30 days? No.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean, even when you unplug for vacation, I don't unplug from fun stuff. Like, I'll unplug from
That's
work.
true. That's true.
You know? But, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pete, tell us what you do at Wells Fargo.
Sure. So I've been at Wells Fargo for about 4 years now, and I run the commercial banking division for New Jersey. I'm the market executive for the New Jersey market. And what that means is we've got a group of lenders that handle middle market companies, and that's what historically I've done my whole career, managing a middle market group. I was a relationship manager in the middle market group, and prior jobs, and I run the middle market group, and I've done that since 2015 at Wells Fargo. And then most recently, we had some changes internally, and I took over the business banking group. So the way we define business banking at Wells Fargo, it's companies with sales of $5 million on up to $50 million. And middle market used to be $25 million. We're elevating that to $50 million on up to $2 billion in sales.
Wow.
And that group there's 5 offices from Paramus in North Jersey, Summit, Island, Princeton, and down Manhattan for the southern part of the state. So we have the whole state. So I'm driving all over the place every day.
So it's interesting, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I think it's an interesting descriptor that middle market is business banking, but the business banking is small business.
Right. And that's just the way the businesses are described pretty much at every bank. Right. So middle market is like that mid-sized company, can be public companies, can usually be family owned, but larger, more sophisticated companies. And business banking, you're right, the definition or the term is a little odd.
It's a misnomer.
Yeah, but that's
But it's a
the
way
smaller
of,
companies.
you don't want to say you're small business.
No, it's
Yeah.
business banking.
Right,
Yeah.
business banking.
Yeah.
What is the term for large?
Large corporate.
Large corporate.
Corporate banking.
Corporate.
Yeah.
Huh.
And those are the Fortune 500,
Sure.
Large companies that we all know. Yeah.
Interesting. How long have you been doing it, banking in general?
So banking, I've done banking since 1985, always in New Jersey.
So you've logged a lot of miles on the car there.
I have. I leased my car, which was like the dumbest
I was
thing
just
in
going
the
to say,
world.
do you lease or do you own?
How stupid was that? So I leased my car.
Yeah.
Then after 3 years, I'm like, 20,000 over on
Sure.
the mileage.
Easy.
So I bought it.
Yeah.
I just purchased it.
You
I
have to.
liked it. I just bought it. So I've done it since the mid '80s, and I've not switched jobs a lot, but I've been at a couple of banks in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Bank of America prior to Wells Fargo for about 15 years, and I was at Mellon Bank for the 7 years prior to that.
Sure.
And what's great about the job is you get to know a lot of people in the market. Since I've been doing it for a long time, lots of your friends are, customers who you socialize with and have dinner with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fun part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a lot of the same clients in my group for, many, many years. But what's happening over the last, 5 or 10 years, as the economy has been good and, cash and capital is plentiful, a lot of the companies that I've dealt with for a long time have been getting sold. So they don't exist anymore. They got acquired by private equity firms or a large corporate type company, and they, kind of merge into those new businesses, and they're no longer our clients anymore.
Sure.
And that's a natural phenomenon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've actually got a random question that's not totally work related, but as somebody who spends a lot of time commuting in the car, what do you do with the time? Are you a phone guy? Are you a audiobook guy? Music? What do you do?
Yeah, I am a combination of a phone person. So coming here, I was on a conference call from 1 to 1:30 with the team internally on a couple of transactions. I'll do that. I'll in the morning on the way in, I'll call folks I work with or friends just to catch up. And then if I'm not on the phone, I'm listening to the radio.
Well, wait, what time are you commuting into work?
Yeah, so I leave my house 7:15, 7:30, and it's a 45-minute drive.
Wow, I can't think of a single friend I have that could call me at 7:30 just to say hi, or that would not be an issue.
It's
for
usually
me.
other work people that
Yeah,
are.
okay,
right?
yeah, that's fair enough.
But we have a 7:15 rule. Don't call me before 7:15
Yeah,
because I may not be in the car yet. Having a cup of coffee at home.
sure.
This is 7:15 rule. A couple of people like to call early, but we nipped that in the bud.
Mm.
And then like last night, I was in New York last night for dinner. Got done, 8 o'clock, 8:30. So I called my brother. He lives in Florida. I called him and spoke pretty much from Newark Airport down to where I live in Monmouth County. So it was like a 45-minute conversation. And
Sure.
so it passes the time.
Yeah.
And then radio, listen to WFAN or sports radio, some music, not the podcast. I might start now.
You should
gonna
totally
have
listen to
to.
this.
My
yeah.
kids listen to the
Good.
podcast, so
Oh,
they're
they
really
do?
excited. Oh yeah,
Mm.
very excited about. Hey, Dad, when are you going to do the podcast? I'm doing it tomorrow. Oh, we'll have to find out.
That's
awesome.
Listen to it.
great.
So I will.
You want to do a shout out to them?
Brian and Steph, we love you. We love you, and Karen, my wife. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So that's why I was looking forward to this.
Nice.
All right.
Very cool.
So phone and radio.
Sounds good.
Radio. Fair enough. Okay. What do you think about the future of banking? Where are we headed?
So it's interesting. The business has really changed since I started in banking, like in the mid to late '80s, and it's changed for a lot of different reasons. The banks, especially the larger banks, are really well capitalized. Ever since the financial crisis in 2008,
Yeah.
2009,
Mm.
the government came in with TARP money and just different capital rules that they test. You might hear about these stress tests.
Wait, what's TARP money?
TARP money was the government giving the big banks
Like a bailout?
like a
Yeah.
bailout,
Okay.
but enough money to make sure they were well capitalized. Some banks needed it. Wells Fargo really didn't need it,
But
But-
you were forced
but
to
we
take
were forced
it.
to take it.
Yeah.
And,
Twist
you-
our arm.
and we paid it back with
Okay.
interest,
That's
Oh,
right.
all right.
That's
to the
right.
taxpayers.
Mm.
So that was 08, 09. So the banks since then, and the government has come in and said, you know what, you need to have these minimum capital rules. Hasn't happened so much in Europe. And if you look at the European banks, some of the banks in Germany or Italy or France are struggling relative to the U.S. banks. Part of that is because the government in the U.S. said you must have a minimum level of capital. And this wasn't the TARP money. This is just retaining certain profits and assets and getting out of certain risky businesses. So back in 08, 09, a lot of the investment banks were leveraged 25, 30 times. And now either they don't exist or they're part of big banks like a Wells Fargo or a JP Morgan or Bank of America. And those banks I just mentioned are much better capitalized. So that's one thing that's changed. Of course, everything, we were talking about the iPhone before we started, everything that's electronic, being able to access your information on your phone,
Mm.
your balances, transfer money to a friend or a kid, or pay bills online. So the whole online banking aspect of banking has changed. You go into a branch, it's not as crowded as it used to be because a lot of the transactions are done on your phone or at an ATM. So from a consumer standpoint, that's changed.
Yeah, weren't you the one that was telling me you still haven't done direct deposit? Or not
No.
direct deposit, sorry, the mobile
Bill pay.
deposit.
Mobile,
Yeah.
I did it for the first time, and
Did that change your life?
it did. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I remember when mobile deposit first became available and banks were rolling it out, and there was a little bit of a charge for it.
Yeah,
way
it's free
at
now.
the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's free now. It's like one of those, techie things that comes along and it's new and oh my gosh, it's only this much money. I
Mm.
finally used it for the first time this weekend, like 10 years after it first
Yeah.
made its appearance. And yeah, it totally changed my life. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
So do you use bill pay to pay your credit
Yeah,
cards, your
I
utility
totally do.
bills?
oh, like auto pay?
Auto pay,
Yeah,
bill pay,
auto
auto pay.
Yeah.
This way you don't have to mail out a check anymore.
Yeah.
So that's another
It's
change.
beautiful.
And the thing about banking is for what I do, for larger companies, it's really about having the capital and being able to make the right size loan to the company that needs it for equipment or for working capital or requires somebody. That's pretty basic, but the investment in technology for treasury platforms, any kind of anti-fraud type, products that you have, positive pay, which allows you to write a check but verify and send the bank a file of, these are the 10 checks I wrote today. I wrote you a $100 check. I wrote you a $200 check, and it's to Vin or to Kate, as opposed to someone coming in and taking that check, which is very easy to come up with a phony check
Mm.
and make it payable to the intern here, right?
Shout out to Will.
Will,
Shout out, Will's
first
in the
day,
room.
Will? First day?
No, you've been here for about a week.
4
Okay.
days. He
All
told
right.
me 4 days.
All right. He's good with the camera.
He is. Good job.
So that there's investment in technology, which, I think has made life in banking a lot easier, a lot more secure. I think that's what consumers have asked for, So it's changed. But what I do, lending money to companies, you're still analyzing the cash flow, the financial statements, and most importantly, the people and the industry that they're in. Because again, that's the other thing. There's a lot of changes in different industries. You know, retail has changed with Amazon and all of that. So people are a big part of how we make decisions, as well as how well the company's doing financially. That's always been the case.
All right. Very good. Unless you have anything else, I think we're going to take a quick break. And when we
Sure.
come back, we're going to play a game called Awful or Awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And we're back. And before we get into the game, we were talking on the break. Pete, you grew up in Trenton.
I did.
Tell us. I can't even imagine Trenton back in the day. Talk
I
about
did.
that.
I grew up in Trenton. I went to Trenton High,
Jeez.
which they just redid.
Yeah, I saw. I
a
drove past it.
couple couple years ago. Had a good experience doing that, and I lived in
You had a good
Trenton.
experience at Trenton High?
At
or
Trenton
driving
High.
past Trenton
No,
High?
at Trenton High. At Trenton High. Played sports, played soccer at Trenton High, and lived, in Trenton by Greenwood and Olden Avenue. For anybody who knows where that area is, with my parents until I went to college, and then I moved out after that.
Mhm.
And I've gotten back involved with Trenton. I'm involved with the Boys and Girls Club, which is on Center Street, not too far from here. I'm on the board.
What do you do with that?
So I'm on the board of directors of the Boys and Girls Club. I'm actually stepping off in June, but I've been on that board for 6-7 years now. And really, there's probably 15 to 20 board members that are engaged with the president and executive there, Dave Anderson and Reggie Coleman, and really helping them not really run the club, but set policy, fundraising. We have a gala once a year. There's actually a 5K race in October at Cavalier Park. I am. I ran
Nice.
this year too.
That's
Yep.
great.
Yep. A lot of fun. And it's just a way of giving back, and they do a great job with the kids from Trenton. And I think they have, I should know the number, probably over 1,000 kids that come in at various times during the year, summer being the busiest. So,
Sure.
but Trenton, Trenton's changed since
Yeah.
I've been here, but we're in Trenton today, so I just
Mhm.
got a thought of that as I was driving through to get here from my office.
Yeah, it's one of those communities that really suffered during the riots and has never quite
Riots?
the 67 riots.
Oh, I didn't know there were riots here.
Yeah.
Yeah, all across the country there were riots.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
Detroit, Newark, Camden,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, Plainfield, Trenton. And some of those cities have come back really successfully, but it's taken Trenton a long time. It's taken a lot of communities a long time. Newark is still, it's
Yeah,
come a long way.
It's come a long way,
It's
and
just,
Camden's another one now. What's
Yeah.
happening in Camden is there's a lot of investment and tax subsidies for companies to relocate there, as there is in Newark.
Mhm.
But Trenton, for some reason, isn't there yet.
Yeah.
And hopefully it gets there, but who knows?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. We're lucky. We're right in the donut hall. I think Vin, you're the one who told me about the
Yeah.
donut hall. Do you want to describe what that is?
What's the donut?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Well, the donut hole would be like the safe zone for if you were to just like walk around Trenton. Like we're kind of in a safe
It's-
area, right?
Right. We're right by the State House, but it's not just at the safe zone. I mean, it's all pretty safe. I drive through Trenton all the time. But it's like at night. If you were to walk from the office to your car at night, I'm safe. I feel totally comfortable doing it here. 4 or 5 blocks away, I maybe wouldn't feel so safe. But that's just at
Well,
night.
this is like the
after
business
dark.
district of Trenton.
Correct. Right. Exactly.
But I want to say it was like one of my first couple weeks here. I was walking back to my car, and today we have the garage right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had to walk like a couple blocks to get to our parking lot. And I noticed that somebody was kind of like following me, and it was pretty scary. I was kind of like ducking and weaving through cars, and I would notice that this person was ducking and weaving through cars. So I made it to the car okay, and I was talking to people about it the next day, and Sarah Bloom, shout out to her, was like, Vinny, that's the security guard? And his job is to make sure
you're
you get
safe.
to your car, okay? And meanwhile, I'm like trying to pull like this whole like John Wick ninja thing, like ducking and weaving between cars, like,
Don't you feel foolish?
I do.
That is
Yeah.
straight up the funniest thing I've heard all day.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh,
That's what
I
I'm here
love it.
for.
Yep. there you go.
FYI, he's there to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
Love it. All right, so now we're going to play Awful or Awesome, and I'm going to name 3 things in quick succession, and we each have to decide if they're awful or awesome, and be prepared to defend your answers. Ready?
Yes.
Celebrity chefs.
Meh.
Yeah.
Awful? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Awful.
Awful. Why? You hate food?
I love food, but if you're a celebrity, you don't need to be a chef as well. Kind of do your Your thing
Or
is a
like
celebrity.
if you're a chef, maybe just be humble about it and work hard and no need to be a celebrity.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I don't watch the Food Network. Like I've said on a previous episode, like I know this is not a celebrity chef thing, but like I hate all those shows where they put like the little stipulations.
Yeah.
You know, you got to use a giant spoon to stir the thing, or you have to make grilled cheese without cheese. You know, those are just so lame.
I agree. I hate those shows.
But even the celebrity chefs, I'm like, yeah,
Okay. What about like an Anthony Bourdain?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is?
I don't watch the Food Network. I don't care at all. You know.
So I know Anthony Bourdain. I'm indifferent, right, Sam? I'm kind of
All
indifferent.
right.
You know, some of it can be interesting, and I like to cook, by the way. So, but I wouldn't get into the you know, some of the stuff that, you know, like I like going to a restaurant that so and so is a chef there, and you may have heard of him or her. I think that's kind of cool.
I've been to
Yeah.
a few restaurants that have the name of a celebrity chef, but the celebrity chef does not chef there.
No.
And I've never really felt like it was a great experience. You know, you get the lines, you get the extra prices, but you don't really get the food that I'm assuming the celebrity chef would make, because you know, I was pretty disappointed. But I'm not going to name any names, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I would go so far as to say awesome, because I really believe that if you're a chef, you're anything that's worth doing is worth doing well, right? So if you're a chef and you're in it just to make great food, that should be enough. You shouldn't have to be trying to be a celebrity as well.
Is that your brand? I guess that's your brand, though, as a celebrity chef, right? Your brand is, hey, I'm Anthony Bourdain or whoever, Wolfgang Puck, right?
Right.
And that's
And
your brand. And
those
you're promoting
guys
it.
were celebrities before the culture of
Right.
the food shows, before Top Chef, before the Food Network. Wolfgang Puck was a staple in LA for, I don't know, 20 years before.
Now I'm wondering what you have to do to become a celebrity chef before the era of...
I think you just had to be really, really, really good.
Huh.
Like so good that your restaurant is where people wanted to eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some of that's word of mouth, right? Someone say, hey, I went to this place. It's, you know.
Yeah,
Word
the
of
experience
mouth,
was just unbelievable. All right, wow, so we're all awful. Elevators? I can't remember why we included this one.
I can't either.
Elevators. I guess I like them in theory, but getting stuck in them is not so fun.
Well, sure. Getting stuck in an elevator is awful.
Yeah.
Actually, we in particular know that because the elevator across the street at our parking garage is horrible.
And
Like,
you
people get
force
stuck
it.
in it like every other day.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for telling me now.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
Fifth
I'm
floor,
saving
but-
you the
He's on the
trouble. I'm on
seven,
7,
you
yeah.
You just have to do what you gotta do.
I actually thought about it as I was rolling in because I could have gotten a space slower, but I would have had to do the whole thing where you drive down.
Oh.
So I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know, I twisted my knee a couple weeks ago. I've got possibly a broken toe. Do I really want to risk the elevator not running?
You're falling
Shout
apart.
out! I am. I'm very squishy these days. So, you know, the shout out to the Trenton Parking Authority, who
Yeah.
like apparently just left this elevator to die. You know, like,
Yeah, something
or
like
fixes
that.
it with duct tape every other day. I don't know, but yeah, I could talk about the Trenton Parking Authority and that elevator for hours.
We should probably not do that.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
We're
Alright.
digressing. I'm going with awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm with you. I think elevators.
I
are
use the one
awesome.
in our building a lot. It's never failed me.
I know.
Excuse me, my daughter has a 4th floor walk up in New York City.
Yes.
Who wants to do that?
Nobody. That's horrible.
Who wants to do that? And
That
then,
is an awful 4th floor walk up.
you know, you get up there, you're winded. You know,
Yeah.
you don't die, you get winded. And then it just, it serves a purpose.
Totally.
But getting stuck in an elevator would not be a lot of fun.
No, we used to say never get into that elevator with anyone you wouldn't want to be with for 2 hours. You know,
Oh my
because
gosh.
that could be the case. Advice to Will too.
Yeah.
I've never gotten stuck, I've never gotten stuck in an elevator though. I
Never
should-
have you.
I haven't either. I've been knock on wood.
I always think about elevator related disasters when I get into an elevator though. Like that scene in Speed at the beginning when the elevator,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Or the scene in Mission Impossible.
It's Hot Shot.
I know, right?
I
That's
don't
right.
remember an elevator scene in Mission Impossible, but it's been a long time since I saw the first movie.
Emilio Estevez is on top
Yes,
of
and
the
he gets-
elevator and he gets
yeah.
like squished.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
They don't leave my brain when I'm in the elevator. I was thinking about
that being
this horrible-
said, I mean, I don't think you're ever sitting on top of the elevator like Emilio Estevez was.
That's true.
Like, you know, just
That's
stay safely.
So what are you more comfortable in, bridges or elevators?
Elevators. I'm not okay on the water.
See, I'm turning it around.
I know.
that.
That's
Look
fine.
at
That's
that.
fine.
The bridges, I have a problem with the bridges.
Me
That's
too.
it.
I've actually been okay with bridges. The things that I hate are when the bridges are too narrow
Oh.
and I gotta worry about clipping the car next to me.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't have an issue with
Like
being
the
over
one-
water. You know?
The one here from between Trenton and Morrisville, is it on the other side?
Yeah, that's a Trent Makes Bridge.
No, it's,
No, the
it's
other
the one
Calhoun
just
Street
on the
Bridge?
Calhoun Street,
yeah, Calhoun. It's like this big.
It's very
Yeah.
narrow. Yeah, it is.
I hate it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I also hate the ones where it's, one lane and it's left to us to decide like
Who
who's
gets
gonna
to go first?
because people are savages.
Yeah.
Nobody ever
Yeah, they are.
makes the right call on that one. Yeah.
No,
Not a fan of bridges.
no,
Mm-mm.
no.
All right, last one. Spice Girls. I
You know,
feel like
if you had asked me this like 20 years ago, I would have like thrown up here on the table. But now, maybe like 25 years removed from like them being in your face every day, I could go awesome.
they're campy and fun.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say that I'm like deliberately listening to the Spice
No,
Girls,
God.
but if you're
No,
flipping through the
yeah.
channels on the radio and something comes on, I could like karaoke some.
I think I can only name 2 songs.
Yeah, me
You
too.
got me beat. I can't even.
Really?
Spice Girls.
Two become one and wannabe. Yeah.
That's. Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I really
Oh, that's
Exactly,
Spice
yeah.
Girls.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, I know now.
That's right.
Everybody
you know it.
knows it. That's what I'm saying.
That's
like
right.
25 years removed, you can be like, all right, whatever.
They were just in concert in Dublin.
Did you go?
I did not go.
Oh, you should have gone.
But it was them.
What else were you doing in
Dublin? yeah.
There's a lot to do.
I got a
There's
lot of
plenty.
pictures back from her trip. It was just like lots and lots of grass.
Did you go to the Temple Bar?
I did go to Temple
course.
Bar. Yeah, it was really fun. It was great. And Dublin, there was so much to see. As small a city as it is, there was so much to see. It was really fun.
Yeah. So I got. How about ABBA or Spice Girls?
ABBA.
ABBA, 100%.
ABBA.
Very
sure.
good. Very good. ABBA's
Yeah, ABBA's awesome.
I mean, ABBA is sort of like the Spice Girls of their
great.
generation.
That's right. That's why I bring it up.
Like, yeah. So we shouldn't
Don't
like
tell ABBA
totally.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know, you're totally right. But their music, I think is
Oh,
better.
the Mamma Mia thing. It's just great.
Yeah.
The music's a lot.
I still have to see Mamma Mia. I heard it was
Oh,
really
it's
good.
great.
The first one was great. The second one was.
Really?
Yeah.
And the Broadway show's really
The
good.
Broadway show is phenomenal. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I like Fernando. I like. I guess I like Dancing Queen.
Dancing Queen's good.
I can't think of anything else they've done, but
Yeah.
I'm
ABBA,
sure.
Super Trooper.
Chiquitita, tell me what's wrong.
She's got a good voice too.
Yeah.
A lot of songs.
Yeah, but you named
Waterloo.
Yeah, Waterloo. Waterloo.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Waterloo.
And at the show, the Broadway show, at the end, they do like 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah, and the audience is like singing along.
Yeah, it's very
It's
cool.
fun.
Okay.
Very cool.
Totally.
I could be down for it.
All right. So we were awesome for Spice Girls. You wanna? weigh in?
Yeah, I'll give them awesome.
Awesome?
More or less indifferent, but
I like how you just like yes.
That's
I'll go with
a win.
awesome.
You were just personally invested in that. Like I really hope like they're all awesome on the Spice Girls.
I know they deserve it. It's
You were there,
fun.
weren't you? Like
I was.
you didn't like the grass was just a cover up. You were at the concert.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I totally.
Front
was.
row, backstage pass, the whole nine.
It's funny that Posh
they were in
wasn't
Dublin
there
when you
then.
were there?
They
Yeah,
were. They were. They had a concert Saturday night. We flew in Sunday morning. So I missed them by like 12 hours. Sadly.
Where
Bad
did
time.
she?
Bad time.
I know it was bad timing. But Posh wasn't there. Apparently, Posh is too posh for the Spice Girls anymore.
Victoria Beckham.
That's
Yeah,
right.
She's married to the soccer player, right?
She is. She married the
She is.
soccer. You do know who
It's
they
funny
are.
how we like
Yeah.
know her more than we know him.
Yeah.
And how we know her more than we know the Spice Girls in general.
Well,
She's-
yeah, but that
she's
yeah.
totally name recognition.
Well, like she's probably the only, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. She's the only one that's really had much of a career, even outside of music or anything. Like
Yeah,
she's the only
you're
one
right.
that's stayed famous after that. Like
But is
Jerry Halliwell sounds familiar. She's one of them, right?
She's one of
it?
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mel
Yeah.
B.
Mel B.
I don't know which one.
I think she
is
went to
from.
the concert. I'm
I
telling you.
did
Yeah,
not.
she totally went to the concert.
All right, we should wrap this up.
Okay, fine. Pete, what's one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self?
So, I think this is probably a cliche, but you have to kind of do what you like as opposed to what people are telling you to do. So when you're, in college or just out of school, you're trying to find yourself and what you're going to do for a living, you can get not cornered, but things happen, and you can't always control what happens, right? And I think I would say to someone that's in their early 20s, make sure you pick, and I did, but make sure you pick a career and a path that you're going to enjoy. Right? That's right. And
How do you
everybody
know?
says that.
How do you know you're going to
Yeah.
enjoy it until you're
Yeah.
5 years in and you're like, I really like this, or oh my god, I just want to.
Well, here's what: if you do that and you don't like it, you have to have the guts to pivot and do something differently, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Because
What
you
was
have
it
to-
about banking that made you say this is what's going to be it for
I
me?
agree. That's a good
So
question.
that's a great question. So when I first did banking, I really wanted to be what they called back then a stockbroker,
Okay.
right? Which is a financial advisor.
I feel like
now.
that's what they call it.
Yeah.
An FA now. But back then it was a stockbroker. And, I've always had an interest in stocks and the stock market. I still do. So that's the job I wanted, but those jobs were really hard to get.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, this banking thing is similar to it. I'll get to meet some people, do that for 5 years, and then I'll move into being a financial advisor.
Sure.
But 5 years turns into 10, you kind of like what you're doing. The next thing you know, you're here today having a discussion with you guys, and you never did it.
That's the
right?
best career path ever. I'm just going to
Yeah.
tell you. Anything that
Obviously.
leads right here.
Right here.
Obviously.
So it just,
This is the golden egg, right?
Right. So that's how that worked out. But, that's what I would do. If I was a young kid, I would kind of do what I thought was right.
Okay.
That's good.
So say you're a business looking to, pick a bank or maybe change banks. How can people get a hold of you?
Give me a call. I've got a team of relationship managers, folks that look at the credit, all the ancillary services. I'll give you my email address.
Absolutely.
Go for
Anything
it.
you want, anything
Yeah.
people could use to get a hold of you.
It's Peter dot, my last name, Dontas, Dontas, at wellsfargo.com.
Okay.
And I'm quick to get back to you on email.
Awesome.
Because your phone is never far from your side.
That's right here.
I
Give
love
Pete a
it.
call at 7:15.
Yeah. 7:15 rule.
Yeah.
Toby, if you're listening, that's about you.
Awesome. Okay, I think that's our show.
Sure.
Thank you to listeners and subscribers. We appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out. And finally, thanks to Pete Dantas of Wells Fargo for joining us today.
Sure. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right, and we'll see you next time. Bye.